Hi everybody. In this video we're going to start looking at some labor demand example problems. We're going to start by looking at the elasticity of demand, so the slope of those labor demand curves. And we'll do two examples here with two separate firms, and we're going to calculate the price elasticities of demand. So a couple things before we actually calculate those. One, we will be using the formula for elasticity as the percent change in the quantity demanded, which is ultimately going to be the change in the number of workers, over the percent change in wage. So percent change in quantity demanded over percent change in price. In labor economics context, it's the number of workers over the wage. And to calculate those percent changes, if we have a percent change in X, two ways to do it. We could do the difference over the original, or the end point minus the beginning point, over the beginning point minus 1. So those are the formulas we'll need. I will note that if we're looking at a demand curve, and here we have the wage, and here we have employment, where we start will actually make a difference in the end result. So if we go from A to B, we would end up with a slightly different elasticity calculation than if we go from B to A. So the starting point matters a little bit, but which one you choose is a little arbitrary. Some people will sometimes use, instead of x0 here, they'll use the midpoint between x1 and x0. But we'll just go ahead and use we'll use this formula and just choose A or B, and doesn't matter which. Okay, so let's start by looking at firm A here. They would hire 20,000 workers at $12, 10,000 workers at $15. So elasticity for firm A, percent change in employment over percent change in wage. Then that's going to be, okay, if we start at 20,000, or we end up at 20,000 from 10. To get there, we started at 15 and moved up to 12 minus 1. Okay, that's going to give us 1. We have 2 over 1 minus 1. So 1 over, that's going to come out to negative 1/5. And then that's just going to flip up to the top. And so the elasticity for firm A is going to be -5. So absolute value is greater than 1, so that's quite an elastic demand curve. And we'll interpret that here in a second. Let's do firm B, percent change in employment over percent change in the wage. Okay, if we start at 33 and go up to 30, those are in thousands, but we'll just abbreviate it there. And to get there, the associated wages were 20 and 15. And so if we calculate that, that'll give us 0.0909 repeating and 1/3. Finalize that calculation, and you should end up with 0.27. So this is less than 1. The absolute value is less than 1, so this would be inelastic. And then the other way to think about these is, okay, if there's a 1% change in, say, a 1% increase in wages, then there will be a 0.27% decrease in employment. Or if you scale that by an order of magnitude, you could say, for example, if the wage increases by 10%, then employment drops by 2.7%. Up there, it would be dropping by, if the wage increased by 10%, then employment would be dropping by 50%. Okay, so yeah, that's it. It's simply these percent change calculations, and yeah, if we did it the other way around, we'd have slightly different numbers. It might actually be a nice way to cross-check yourself. But if we went the opposite direction, then up here you would calculate this elasticity to be 0.2, and down here, -2, and down here, you would end up calculating -0.4. So same end result, roughly. They're still elastic and inelastic, slightly different if you go one way or the other, but roughly similar. So anyway, try to give yourself a check to see if you can confirm those numbers, and otherwise that'll do it for this video. Thanks.